Andalusia Marine, located in Andalusia, Alabama, your express, all-wheel stick steering, Polarcraft, Starcraft, veranda pontoon dealer. One call heating, air, and refrigeration, Mr. Stephen Dubb, air conditioning guy you can trust. RMC Mechanical Contractors, located in Chelsea, Alabama. Give us a call for all your industrial contracting needs. Styler Arms, located in Bessemer, Alabama. You can also pick these rifles up at Simmons Sporting Goods. That is a Steyr Scout in that picture. I've been hunting with a pro hunter for about 30 years, guy. One of the finest rifles made. Pick one up today, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Alpha Plumbing, Mr. D. Robinson. He's been with us since day one. Call him for any of your plumbing needs, a plumbing guy you can trust. CT Ward Power Sports, Camden, Alabama on Highway 28. Your Excel center console, side console, golf your pontoon, Hustler Lawnmower, and Mercury and Yamaha service dealer. Power brakes. If you want to get your total boat control under control, get you a set of these. Give old Chad Clifton a call, www.mypowerbrakes.com. All right, folks. It is 7:02. We played the opening intro thanking our sponsors. I'm Shane Jones. That's John Fulmer. Jessica's running around back in the background. She just got there. You can tell, John. Yeah, she just arrived there downtown.
Yeah, we're here at Ray Morris's place on Lay Lake, and Jessica just got here. She came in from work, and she got a day off tomorrow. She's gonna be able to fish tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday up here on Lay Lake, and we're gonna stay at Ray Morris's place here in Peckerwood Creek. If you wanna, look in the background. That sun just set over that hill. Oh my gosh, go on Airbnb, and if you go on Airbnb and just look on Lay Lake and Peckerwood Creek, it's a beautiful place. I mean, absolutely amazing.
John's getting ready for a little tournament. We're gonna share some information about it here in just a little bit, but like I said, we thanked our sponsors and got this thing rolling. John's pre-fishing for, might as well do it now because people are going to ask. That is the Lay Lake Sunday Crappie Series. This is fall stop number 1 right there at Lay Lake. I don't know a lot about it. I know Dustin Headley. I've spoken to him a few times on Facebook, and I know a few people that fish it, but they get a little crowds in those tournaments, John. How many people do you think they're expecting Sunday? Or Saturday,
I don't have a clue. They better come with a calm head because these fish are not acting very nice.
They got a bad attitude.
Yeah, I saw a lot of fish today, and I caught one really nice fish. I'd love to have 6 more of that size.
Right.
It's just, they still got their summertime head here.
Yeah, you're gonna deal with that. I put in the comments, guys. We might as well go and announce it. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcast. We're all on the podcast networks now. I put the links in the first part of the comments, guys. A lot of you guys have already downloaded it and started making reviews. Let's see here. Somebody said, Jacob said my mic's popping real bad. I don't understand why it is.
It is popping. That's what I was talking about earlier.
See if I can unplug it. Go ahead and talk, John, and I'll flew with this.
All right. We got the Crappie Princess. She's coming up. She's about to be on here with us. It's not often that she gets to, with this being a Sunday tournament, she's going to be able to pre-fish for 2 days, and that does not happen very, very often. A lot of times her work doesn't permit her to do that. So I'm excited about being able to pre-fish with her 2 days. Shane's having a little technical issue with the mic. I hope it's not going to pop anymore. We heard it before we went on and thought it was just on my end, but undoubtedly it wasn't.
I don't know. Is it still popping, guys?
No, I think you, whatever you did.
Okay. Like I said, I had to unplug it and plug it. Jacob Myers, and they've been in this game a little while.
It's back popping. You might just go without the mic and just go straight phone tonight.
I don't understand. Let me get off there. I don't want to be popping. So.
Yeah,
go ahead.
All this fancy technical stuff. We're new at it. Sometimes we'll get on and think we've got it worked out, and it doesn't always do right. But
stuff happens, man, when you live.
There we go.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's popping.
it always happens when you're live. You'll go on and be like, "Oh, I got everything figured out," and
Yeah,
then
I don't know why it's popping. I've done changed the cord out and everything, so I don't know. I've got another cord for it, but see if I can find it. I don't know if it's a cord. You know, the thing doesn't even get touched, guys. And then when we, I don't even know where the other cord is. I'll have to hunt it down. But we're just gonna go with this thing, guys. Let's see who's all tuned in here. There's Holden Higgs, Bill Lawley Jr., Corey Newby's in here. Jacob Myers is on. Keith Spencer from North Mississippi. Country Cousin Greg. Kevin Hicks is down. Ryan McKenzie. Brandon Lutz. James Trott. Appreciate it. Chuck Bean. He's in.
Trott.
Chad Selman. He's on YouTube. Scott Seals is on. Greg Hamlin. Yeah, they're telling me static on the mic. I don't understand that, but heck, who knows? So, we'll figure it out. We don't want that thing popping, getting on everybody's nerves. I'm a loud enough talker anyway, so. There's Mr. Tommy Keller, Freddie Hawkins Jr., man. I appreciate everybody tuning in. We got 65 people on here already. Man, that's awesome.
It's awesome.
I appreciate y'all guys jumping on. Like I said, the first part of the comments, guys, I've got the links to the Apple Podcasts and Spotify, man, where you can listen going down the road now. So you won't have to sit here and
it was pretty cool. Shane sent me a message and said, "All right, we're on the Apple Podcast," and I was like, for real? And so you go on your phone and go to podcast on your Apple phone, and you put in CrappieKast, all one word, spelled with a K, crappie with a cast with a K, and then it popped up. I was like, holy crap! Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy listening to yourself on the radio, guys.
It is.
I don't know. We're gonna try this thing again. I turned the mic down a little bit. So.
I don't think it was necessarily anything to do with that. It was just popping. But
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll turn it back on and see. I don't.
You got no audio now. No audio at all. Shane doesn't have his mic's totally not working. So
I don't know. Is it still popping?
Yeah, it's still popping.
Well, we're gonna do without. I don't know what it is. Heck with it.
Hey, it could be like the first time we tried it. The first show we did, I never made it on the show. Jessica and I never made it. It was so it's trial and error with this stuff, but we enjoy doing it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have stuff. I don't understand. Like I said, John said it was popping a little bit. I couldn't hear it on my end, so. Tommy said, "Glad you can fish better than your tech skills." No kidding, buddy. I didn't say I was a technician. I don't know what. Like I said, it's been working fine, and I have another cord for it, but I'm trying to think of what I've done with it. I've got one that's got the telephone cord, got the little bungee part on it. So.
Yeah, it'll be all right. We'll get it worked out between now and the next next week.
Man, how's everybody doing? Let's see. Thanks, Shane, for the live scope info a couple weeks ago when you were in Florida. You're welcome, bud. I forgot he messaged me. I get so many messages, man. I try to help everybody out I can. So you're welcome, man. I'm glad, Mike, you got that thing going. Caught some fish. So. Yeah, that view behind John is beautiful. That's what Sonny's saying. That's awesome.
It is, man. If you're ever wanting to do a vacation trip, look up this Airbnb on Lay Lake. Our friend Ray Morris owns it. It is amazing, and it's not just the main house. He's got a guest house over there too. There's, you could do both of them if you got a big family trip you want to plan, or you can, do the guest house or just his house.
Yeah, I know he was saying he's going to book a lot of stuff in the springtime coming. So even this fall, man, when it cools off, especially you people that live up north, when it gets cold, y'all come on down here. So.
Absolutely. Well, I guess let's go ahead and get into everybody's weekend fishing. Shane started out. You started out at Mullet's Ferry.
I did.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah, man. I went to Mullet's Ferry, and it was kind of cloudy, and when I went down there Friday, it was raining pretty good. And I went down there, and those fish there just wasn't a lot of fish out, and some of them had a bad attitude. It was kind of odd. You could tell there wasn't a lot of movement as far as wild game and birds, and you could just tell it was going to be one of them days. And so what I do in those times, man, I just go out and look for more stumps and more cover, and that's what I did. And I found a couple fish, and we were actually on a trip with Wesley Clark, and we didn't have 4 fish, and we went downriver and at a place where I made some stake beds, 3 weeks ago, and thank goodness, right around that area, we had to get in there. It was actually, believe it or not, it was 2 logs laying away from us, and we had to go in between those logs to get to those crappie. You would set the hook, and the fish would be jumping and pulling on the other side of the log. You'd have to fight them and get them, but we ended up catching 15 or 16, nice fish there. So those stake beds right above it kind of stayed the trip. But then Sunday, and it was about the same way. And then I went to visit John on Monday. I'll let him go into details about it.
We had a heck of a trip South Alabama. Shane came and stayed with me, and we went to a little lake in South Alabama. Right now the fish are just stacked on everything in the lake.
I ain't never in my life.
And all you got to do, I say this all the time, but you can do it anywhere you go, is you get in the channel, come out up on the flat, and zoom out, look around, and just run the channel, but look on the flats above, out of the channel, and then look, at the stumps that are on the channel ledge, and you can just keep running up the channel ledge like that, and you'll just see fish. But there's a lot of fish on that lake, and I think he and we had a limit, 2-man limit, 3.5 hours.
Oh, yeah, it was.
We were smoking them, and I wanted to try to put him on some bigger fish, and we went
Tell
to
him what I
another
done with the big fish, John. Tell him what I done with the big fish today. I mean,
well, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Yeah, go ahead. I can tell him myself.
Yeah, he threw it back, and unintentionally threw it back.
Look, guys, it hit the deck. It hit the deck, and I grabbed it, and it slung me, and hit, and I went to kick it back in the boat, and I punted it further out in the water. It was a nice pound and a quarter, pound and a half fish.
Yeah.
It was funny, but we wiped John. It was crazy, guys. It's how fast John could cover that water and using those power brakes in the rear end of his boat. We were flying. I mean, we were flying. He was up on 10, and we hit a brush pile, boom, 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 catch 10 hot fish and move on. It was awesome, man. It just shows you how people don't realize, people think, oh, you just make a commercial with those things, but that is a tool, man. It is awesome.
Absolutely.
I didn't have to run the trolling motor, so John was like a bird dog. He was just pointing and told me where to throw, and those fish had a pretty good attitude, and we had some fun, man.
I will tell everybody this. I want to say probably one of the keys to the trip was that lake we were fishing was white and black crappie. And this time of year, when the water's hot, it is easier to catch white crappie. And probably 90% of the fish that we kept and caught were white crappie. So when you go somewhere like today, I went fished here, and you're fishing for those black crappie, they have a terrible, terrible attitude this time of year. And, I had to throw across a lot of fish to catch fish today. Whereas if you would have had a mix of white and black crappie, you would have caught a lot more fish.
Right. So, well,
but it's as the water cools off, they'll get a better attitude. Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. They're Jacob's texting me back and forth about this mic. We're trying to figure something out. I don't know what it is. I may have to end up changing the cord when I find it, but we're gonna go with this old baby. What was I gonna talk about? Oh,
it's still popping. It's still popping a little bit, but you just using your phone.
Really?
Yeah.
That maybe something to do with the stream. I wonder if I had to come back out and go back in. I don't know. I don't know.
Let's just roll with it like it is.
We're gonna roll with it, guys.
Yeah.
Tommy Pye said I went out with a line scope for the first time Tuesday and Wednesday with the settings you posted and had to do very little tweaking. Man, that's good, man. That's what we do it for, Tommy. Where you can get out there and we're just trying to help save you from the aggravation of this crappie thing and using this forward-facing sonar. We're trying to cut down that time for you guys where you can go out there and enjoy it and not, we dealt with all the frustration calling John, but it, I was in Florida. I called John with mine. I was about ready to rip it off, and
yeah,
we figured it out. What it was the actual pitch angle. my HRS, it went crazy. I had to turn it off, and my bottom was looking like this and this, and then he was like, "Hey man, adjust your pitch angle." So we that's what we did.
Shane,
Jimmy Lawler's got a good question.
What's he got?
Trying to color shade my depths on my Navionics card and my Helix, but haven't figured out how. Any tips? He's trying to get that green on his certain depths. John, you remember?
Got you.
I do that.
Yeah. So what you'll do is you'll go into the actual mapping. When you go to UMass menu twice, up at the top it'll bring all your different things you can go into: sonar, mapping, all the stuff that's on the unit, the networking. So you'll actually click on the map, and then once you click on the map, then you'll be able to scroll down, and it'll give you some options like color shade. What you're doing, you're shading the depths of water. If you'll message me, I'll look you up.
That's Big Daddy's
It's tough to explain this, through a live
Jimmy.
feed.
Just we message John and we'll get you hooked up, man.
Yeah.
We'll get you through it, bud.
Man, we're having a hard time finding minnows here.
That's crazy. I wouldn't know where to buy any minnows around Lay Lake. I couldn't tell you.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of bait stores, but no, I guess no one has kept them through the summer. But we're working on it because with the hard-headed fish, you definitely need to have that in your arsenal.
Right. Let's see, man. Trying to see. Stephen Tucker said we got a huge seawall boat house going up just upstream from Beeswax.
Oh yeah, Tucker built that seawall back there.
Yeah.
He did.
He said come by and see them. They're gonna be fishing a little bit more for the tournament Saturday, right?
Sunday. That's
Sunday.
what it's
series. Yeah.
Yes, very unique.
It is Sunday. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, it's rare that Jessica gets 2 full days of pre-fishing, and she got to be off tomorrow.
Yeah, she usually catches. Yeah, you're right. Hopefully, I know we're fixing to get some cooler nights, and that may help. These cooler nights are coming. I looked at the weather next week. It's supposed to be in the 80s and the 60s. So, the good thing about posting stuff on Facebook, guys, I post a lot of pictures. John does. When your memories pop up, you can look at those pictures and be like, oh. So actually this weekend is I met Wesley and his son in a creek down there. I don't know if you remember, John. I was catching fish all around him. I said, man, what color jig are you using? He says, are you Shane? And I said, yes, sir. He said, oh, we watch y'all stuff on Facebook and YouTube. And he had a little boy with him. I was like, and I was catching fish all around him. I said, you know what, man, just tie your boat to that stump and get in the boat. He jumped in the boat with me, and we went and popped a few fish. And then I remember the next weekend, it started picking up a lot. So, about the third weekend in September, it starts. Then John and Jessica came down in first week in October, and we put the mash on them. So the better fishing's coming. You just got to be kind of patient. So.
I got my top shelf Ray's about to go put those barbecue shrimp in the oven here.
Is he gonna cook this? Oh, y'all cooking shrimp in the oven?
I brought the shrimp, and we're gonna have barbecue shrimp tonight like we did at Joe Allen's.
Oh man, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've cooked it a few times, man. Man, we got 63 people on here. That's the most I think we've had that quick of a time, guys.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
What about our fish cleaning on Monday?
Oh,
yeah,
hey,
sure.
I messed up, guys. Man, let me share that picture. Y'all keep talking, John. I gotta share that.
Yeah,
picture.
so we had 2-man limit of fish to clean, and Jessica is one of the fastest at cutting out rib cages that you'll ever want.
That ain't no kidding.
So Shane and I both are pretty fast with the fillet knife. Well, Jessica can keep up with us cutting out rib cages, and we clean 2-man limit about as quick as you want to clean one. Ray's giving me a hard time as he walks inside.
What's crazy about it, guys, is I should have videoed it because there was, like I said, 60 fish there, and I promise you, we blew through them fish in 15 minutes, 16 minutes. It was unreal. Like I was throwing 2, and Jessica was just whoop, whoop, like a surgeon. I mean, it was crazy. I wish I'd have videoed it. Now these fish are 10, 11 inches. They're easy to blow through. These ain't 2-pounders or nothing, but man, that was awesome to clean that fish at that fast a time because they were going out and play on the lake, and I was driving home. Let's see, man. Tommy Keller said, I'm going to have a fish fry Saturday for the game at the camp. Going to try that mustard binder. Heck yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. That's what they're for, man. Enjoy it. You going to be, Tommy, you going to be at Demopolis, I guess? I'm fishing down there Sunday, I think. So.
I don't know. We had a big time mullet fishing too.
Oh yeah,
Sunday, yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, that was Sunday. That's right. That was actually last week's show.
we were. People don't realize how hard those fish pull. You get a foul hook mullet, you get your hands full, and then when you're in water like this deep, sometimes, and you're like kicking off one leg trying to get back to some shallow water so you can deal with the fish. And I went overboard, of course, and had 3 hooks on 1 leader, and so you definitely don't want those extra 2 hooks swimming in between your legs while you're fighting a fish. I mean, and I'm using an 8-foot outlaw crappie pole to catch mullet, and you get a 1.5-pound mullet foul hook, and he does what he wants to until he gets a little tired. But it's still, man, that mullet fishing is so much fun. You go out there and bait you a mullet hole and take those gold hooks, and you see a little bit of anything on that cork, snatch that hook, and it's on. Just
into your mouth. And...
Yeah, Jessica, she threw her the whole rig. You hit yourself in the face
in the mouth with it.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah, I caught a pile of mullet, man. John likes to smoke them on the half shell and stuff.
Man, they make some awesome dip, some smoked fish dip.
Yeah. Chad's talking about. Here we go, John. It's pretty. I'll be glad when all the ski boats and pontoons and jet skis get off the water.
We have a great.
When John and I
we have a great story about this.
This is
I'm gonna let Shane tell it. Yeah, tell it,
I'm
Shane.
sitting there, and this lake's pretty big. We're on now. I mean, it's not narrow at all. And we're sitting there popping fish, and a fellow John knows is building a pier right there, and I'm putting a lift in a pier and building a pier. And we're not. I mean, I'm gonna say for real, I could almost cast to this guy's pier. We're talking to him. I mean, no kidding. I could just about pop a crappie jig. This boat's coming at us, and I thought, all right, boat, he may be pulling in the dock beside us or something, and he's pulling some kids on a little torpedo-looking thing, a float, whatever them things are. And I told John, I said, he's fixing to go between us and the bank. He's literally fixing to go between us and the bank. And John goes, he is. I said, what? No, he literally, I mean, he was 20 yards from us, just between us and the bank, pulling a kid. And I was like, who does that? And then he turned around and made a loop, and then he went out in the middle of the river.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, guys.
People that fish have more boat etiquette than people that don't fish. And I'm not going to say that person doesn't fish. But when you see somebody fishing, think about, put yourself in that position. Like, what would I want them to do?
Yeah, I try to be courteous, guys.
Yeah, certainly. If you're 30 yards from a boat dock, you certainly wouldn't want somebody to go in between you and the boat dock.
Yeah, and I don't want, like I said, these bass fishing these tournaments, I understand they're in a hurry, and I try not to wash nobody out, but it kind of surprised me, guys. You can get your boating license online now, so they don't teach boat etiquette or nothing, guys, but just be courteous to people fishing.
The thing about it, though, is I warned Shane, I said, 10 a.m. Watch. 10 a.m.
Yeah, no kidding.
And he's like, why are you saying 10 a.m.? I said, that's when it'll start.
Oh, hey, it was Jet Ski Central. Hey, they were racing.
The washing machine will begin, because you feel like you're in a washing machine.
There were 10, 15 jet skis, 2 or 3 pontoons, and I know they're trying to get their last hurrah in right here at Labor Day, and because it's fixing to get cold, that'll get rid of a lot of them. But man, they're saying that sunset behind you is awesome. It is beautiful. You turn around.
It is beautiful.
Look at that, man.
Yeah, Jessica keeps turning around to look at it.
That's awesome.
I mean,
look at that.
It's amazing.
They're at Ray's place right there. We need to put Ray's information in the comments about his Airbnb there. He rents that place out right there on Lay Lake in Peckerwood Creek. But he's got a pier down there with a green light and everything down below there. We'll share some pictures of it. But John and them staying there. They fix to eat some barbecue shrimp. They living the life, buddy. That's a promise. That's a promise, guys. Where's everybody fishing at this weekend? Let me know, guys. Y'all ask some questions here. I don't know if I missed any dealing with this mic and stuff, so I'm trying to go back, look and see. I think, Jimmy is the only one that asked anything about his changing his depth on there. 64 people, man. I appreciate y'all. Man, I appreciate all y'all tuning in to the Apple podcast stuff we released on there and stuff. People's been downloading it, and I've been trying to keep up with it and leaving reviews, and that's awesome. I hope that gets kicking, because today there's a guy in the gym working out. He's a truck driver, and he's like, man, I seen your truck. I've got a sticker in the back of my truck, and he started looking it up. He said, man, I got to drive tonight. He said, I have to drive tonight. So Bill Lolly said he's going to fish next weekend, working at the hunting club. Corey said he's going to go to Altoona. There you go. Fish right.
Cutting the lights. He had the lights on for a second. He's getting the lights on.
He's trying to figure it out.
Yeah. He's got a remote.
James Trott said he's going to Logan Martin.
There we go.
But we're going to talk about it, like I said, while you're getting these lighting situations on. We're going to be at the Crappie Expo, guys. They're already starting to advertise a little bit. The 22nd through the, right there, 22nd through the 24th, booth number 7. We're going to be right on the corner, guys. Y'all come by and say, hey, man, let's clog that corner up. And, hey, shake hands and shoot the breeze, you know. And we're going to be right there.
We hear from a lot of people, you know, while we do this, and people message us and they leave us comments, but we look forward to meeting the people that we interact with in this show. I mean, John, just talking fishing, you know.
Oh yeah, John's Adam Acker said TNN they have menace. I don't know where that is. That's not far from
TNN. Thank you, Adam. I'll look that up, buddy. TNN.
And he gave the phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Sonny
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're gonna get in this in-depth series. We're trying to get all this stuff going, and Jacob and them got me all downloaded and got me. It was fun watching me sit over there trying to get all this downloaded to Apple Podcasts. Thanks for Jacob Myers and them help from Outdoor Recreation Network. They've been in this game a little while, and they got me kind of going. And we're gonna get further and further in that in-depth series. We're the first episode we just done a little introduction. The next one John and I is gonna do. We're gonna get in there and get in some mapping stuff and try to help you guys, like John says, find these fish on your couch, you know, and then go out and catch them.
Absolutely.
I think that's gonna be awesome when we let's see. Jamie Hall, I still got a lot of work to do finding crappie on the river. Yeah, hey, I understand. He said he mainly fishes black crappie. That river will humble you, Jamie. I've got some of that this weekend, a little humble pie. I promise. I got me some of it. Taylor and Jessica Ward. Oh, CT Ward Power Sports right there, Camden, Alabama. Oh, Taylor's renting equipment now, John. You see that? I don't know if you see it.
He's expanding out to everything.
Hey, man, you know, I told a guy the other day, man, you get your honeydews done before hunting season starts, fishing season starts. You know, go rent your little track co and dig up shrubs or whatever you need to do. And he renting bush hogs. I don't even know what all he's renting, but that's a good thing. Oh, Ray got you lighting going. You got your lighting.
Yeah, we got our lighting technicians on.
Ray is a professional.
Big Ray. Big.
Uh-oh. I lost him, guys. He probably done kicked.
Yeah, no, I got a phone call. Somebody was hitting me up.
Mine does that when I get texts and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, let's see. Jessica Hicks. There she says, "I'm so thankful we met. Talking about you guys. We love the friendship." So John and Jessica stay with Kevin and Jessica Hicks, Shiloh, and Tim Pentecost. They all stay together when they're fishing tournaments. So
we do.
And Trot.
And Kevin's coming to fish that Sunday series, isn't he? I think he is, isn't he?
Yeah, they kind of turned us on to it.
Yeah, he won one of the last ones, I think, didn't he?
Kevin did. He did. He won the last
Kevin
one.
Did. I think he did too.
Kevin and Jessica.
Y'all, I'm gonna be honest with you. That sunset is so beautiful. It's like
it looks like a painting, John.
It looks like when you're on a. Yeah, when you're on a cruise, you know, they have you stand in front of the little sign. Yeah, but so we move around, it doesn't even look like we're in the.
It looks fake behind you. That is beautiful, dude. The good Lord's got. Hey, he can paint. That is
absolutely
about as pretty as you get. Ray knew what he was doing when he set you up there. He's.
Oh, I bet when Ray bought this place, they came and sold it to him late in the afternoon. Like,
yeah, right there. Oh yeah, that would get you. Corey said it looks like a postcard.
Yeah. Well, so I want to talk a little bit about fishing today.
Go ahead, John.
came up here this morning and found some fish. Was excited to see them, and anytime you go somewhere you haven't been in a very long time, you're excited just to find the fish. Find them, throw the kitchen sink at them, no cooperation, and just throwing the tiniest thing I could throw to get them to bite. And that's probably too much information, to be putting out where I'm gonna be fishing against people this weekend.
Yeah.
But I mean that's fine. But the problem with that was today was the wind was blowing.
Right.
Whenever you're riding down that road, I tell you what a tale to tell about what you're gonna see on the lake. When you're riding by and you see a poplar tree, and you can see that white underside of that leaf on that poplar tree, you know when you get to the lake you're gonna have a little more to deal with than you want to. And sure enough, got to the lake and the wind was blowing pretty good, so I couldn't throw that smaller stuff that I wanted to throw and effectively like put it where I wanted to put it.
Right.
So it was tough. You just had to put the jigs in front of a lot of fish to get to get that 7 that you want to have in a tournament. Is going to be going through a lot of fish.
I know when on John and I trip Monday, I had a chartreuse and black on, and he had this little gray ghost looking made by Limits Tackle. And before the fun, but what's crazy, guys, before the sun come up, I was popping some fish, and John and I would kind of fish for fish. And then when that sun got up and we got to the next brush top, they wasn't giving that black chartreuse time of day. John will tell you, I was like, "Hey man, where's them jigs at?" And he's like, "They're in there." And I got one on and tied it on. I got a dozen on the way right now. I talked to Steve from Limits Tackle and was like, "Hey man, I need some of them gray ghosts and little wedge heads." And it was crazy, but the sun was, like I said, it wasn't shining. It was up and it was daylight, and they were smacking that black chartreuse, and then when we went to the next brush pile, John was sitting there catching 3, and I'm like, "Hey, hold on just a second. Something ain't right." I'm coming right through there with him. I'm actually throwing on top of him. We're splashing right there, and
definitely don't throw that gray ghost here because it definitely does not work here.
Hey, that's a bad little dude. Taylor's asking a question. Asked him, "Do we butt heads or argue about what you ought to be doing?" No, man, we don't. We just Taylor, let me tell you what happens when John and I get in the boat. Fish they're in trouble. I'm just gonna go on and tell you, like it was. Yeah. We were catching them so fast, Taylor. I'm not kidding you. Like John was saying, "Hey man, I'm gonna go over the top," and then I said, "All right, I'm gonna stick mine in the school and just dead stick it." We were just teaming up and seeing what was working on each pile, and John and Jessica do the same thing, guys. That's what's cool about it. You got a guy working the top of the pile and a guy going in and dead sticking it. You can pop some fish in a hurry, and that's what you need to do. Just try different stuff in those each. Because John will tell you, each pile's different. Each school of fish is different. Their attitude may be different in the way they do it. So,
and this time of year when they're acting terrible like that is, if you spend 5 minutes there, don't be scared to go ahead and move. Go to where you know someone.
A lot, man.
Yeah, and I kept saying to Shane while we were fishing, I was like, "These aren't the only fish in the lake. We're gonna keep moving." So we just kept.
Oh, we did. We covered a lot of water, guys. I mean, like I said, John had that motor on that old Tricks on his boat on high, and we were moving. Tim Alexander, who's the net man? We didn't use the net. We boat flipped all day, Tim.
Well, Tim, it's a funny story about that. So I've got sea deck in my boat, and I sprayed it down and washed it and pressure washed it. And I'd taken the net out of the boat to do that. And Shane knows where the net usually is on the boat on my boat. And he reaches back to grab the net. He's like,
"Look, I'm grabbing
where's the net?" I was like, it's at the house, under the house.
Let me set this up a little better. John said this is where my son caught his big fish. I was like, cool.
I did.
Creek caught his big fish there. We went there, and there was some big fish there. And they had attitude. John said, "Here comes one." He smoked it. I said, "That's a good one, John." And like I said, it's a 1.5 pound, 1/4 fish. It's a good fish from where we were. I was reeling it in, and I said, "Hey, I'm reaching back like this, and it's just air."
Yeah.
So I got a boat flip and break my line on that one. And then I punted another big fish in with my foot like a dummy. So.
Which brings up a good point. If you're pounding on fish like that, I know everybody gets so excited. But retie your knots. Like, honestly, every 7 to 8 feet, or excuse me, every say 7 to 8 fish.
Yeah, I made that
Take that
mistake.
jig
Sure
and
did.
just pull as hard as you can. And try to make it break, and if it doesn't, you're good.
Well,
If
a
it
lot of those
breaks,
fish were
retie.
swallowing that little hair jig, John, and there's a little bit of teeth they have. And my finger's still a little rough. We get caught up in the moment, especially if you're turning fishing, guys. Hey, you catch a couple big fish down in there, in the top. I was having to take pliers. They were eating that little jig, and next thing you know, when I try to boat flip a bigger fish, it popped off. So
Yeah, they're like the sandpaper part of their mouth. It works on that line, and eventually you need to retie because it's
like
just
we were catching them so fast, but you don't realize. I mean, we caught a limit of fish in 3 hours, so we were smoking them pretty good, and you don't realize, you're taking that many fish off, and you need to, hey, retie, hey, stop, retie, and I got caught up in the moment, and when I had that big fish hit, I was unprepared because when I went to boat flip, I seen him, and the bad thing is he sat on top of the water. That's when I was reaching for the net. He just sat there, and then he just went. Whoop.
Well, when you bring that fish and you're boat flipping fish, and you grab that line, you're testing the whole tensile strength of that line because that fish is sitting there, and you're like, that's going to be the strongest. It's almost
Right.
like when you hook that stump and you're pulling back against that stump, you're testing that line to see what's left in it. So if you have a fish and you go to grab that line and it sits down hard, that's the chance you're gonna have when it. You ever
Oh yeah.
like growing up, my granddad would be like, "Don't touch the line." If you had a big bass or something, oh, don't touch the line. Don't touch the line.
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah.
fish up here on the bank, and that's why. Because if that line's gonna break, it's gonna do it when it's taking all the stretch out of it, and you're finding the weak point in it. So that's why it's
Right.
always good to retie. Whenever just think about it periodically, like, oh, we're beating on some fish. I don't want to lose that one good fish. Just go ahead and take that 30
Right.
seconds and retie that jig on.
That's right. It doesn't take me long, and I just got carried away. Oh, Jason's asking, what's a good hair jig with 124? Do you think there'll be some at the Crappie Expo? I'm sure. I don't know if anybody have any hair jigs at the Crappie Expo. I know ATX is going to be there, and I don't know if anybody that's going to make hair jigs is going to be at the Crappie Expo.
Lennox Tackle is very good to us and sends us a lot of plastics and stuff.
He's sending us something to give away at the show.
Right.
Sure
He ties 124 jigs. Uh, the 124th is a good jig if you're fishing some shallower stuff, and if you want to shoot a dock or something like that. That thing, it's not so light the wind beats it down. It's a good happy medium on, when you're got what'd you say, just 6 to 8 foot, 10 foot at the most, light wind, or you want to shoot up under a dock. That 124th is excellent at that. You start getting to the 16th and you want to skip a 16th, that's when you start having a little bit more problem.
Right.
Trying to skip it up under a dock.
Yeah, but, Jason, just message me, man, and I'll get you in touch with Steve from Limits. Those jigs he ties, man, there's not a lot of wasted stuff on these jigs. The profile's awesome. John's taught me a lot.
Good.
That smaller profile jig we were throwing, guys, you don't realize how far they'll inhale that bait. I'm always been scared of them little hooks, and they'll sting them big fish. It's crazy.
I've taught a lot of people how to, like, some people that we interact with fishing, they'll watch me tie a jig, and they want to learn how to tie jigs. And the best advice I can give to somebody once I teach them how to tie a jig is, if you want to find out how good of a job you did it with that jig, go beat it on a boathouse, or go run it through some timber, or catch a bunch of fish on it, and see if it stays together. That's how, like, I have one of my close friends, he comes and brings his jigs over the house. Like, what do you think about this jig? What do you think? I said, that all looks great, but until you go beat it on a boathouse, you don't know if what you've tied is going to stay together, because there's something about that jig slapping that boathouse. Because when you're first learning to shoot docks and stuff like that, you're gonna be dink, 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 and it's going to happen. I mean, you're gonna have dents all over the head of your jig head, and if they hold together, she's got jokes. But anyway, if they hold together, that's when you're getting better at tying jigs.
That's exactly right. Somebody's asking about a knot. and we were just talking about that. Nicholas Duchok was talking about I tie, loop knot, and believe it or not, Nick, after you catch a lot of fish with a loop knot, it is really going to get weak, because it's got a lot of swing to it, and the fish's mouth, and it's rotating more. So John was like, "Hey man, when you're really catching a lot of fish, just go and tie a polymer." And I'm like, "I don't mind tying a polymer. But a polymer knot is probably the number one knot. I mean, really, for your all around, especially if you tie it tight, like John said, and your jig and lay like it's supposed to." But
that's the good thing about a polymer. You get 2 wraps on a polymer.
Right.
So once you get it cinched down, especially using those long poles, it's hard to do a polymer, because what you have to do is run the line through there and then come back and run it through again and then do your loop, because typically with that braid, I can just bend the braid and shove it through there one time, do
that's
my
what
loop.
I do.
Yeah.
That's
All right.
exactly what I do.
Well, when you're doing that 15-pound fluorocarbon, you have to run it through there and then come back and run it through there again to make your loop, but you can't bend that 15-pound enough to do one pass through the eye.
Right. Shallow's saying number four hook. That's what's in those jigs we use. So Shallow's in the house. I appreciate you being on. Mr. Al
I got some 6s too. Everybody hates on me about those 6s, but I use them all the time to catch fish.
So are y'all going to be selling stuff to Expo? We're going to have a few things for sale there, Mr. Roberts, for sure. For Limits Tackles sending us a bunch of jigs to give away. We're going to do that. You'll be able to put your hands on.
We'll have some of these shirts.
Those shirts right there.
Until they're sold.
Until they're sold out. Let's see. For sure, Mr. Allen. I hope I'm going to be glad to finally run into him. I'm friends with his son. I work out of the gym with him all the time, and we're always there. I'm asking how his dad Allen's doing. So let's see. Somebody's asking Mr. Limits Tackle himself what knot to use for braid or fluorocarbon. What knot is that I use? A uni knot? Is that what it's called?
I use a double uni.
That's probably what I use.
Yeah.
Where you take a loop and go through it and wrap it 9 times both ways, and then is that the?
Yeah, I don't typically do now. I'll do like on the braid side, I'll do 5, and then on the floral side, I'll do 4.
Okay.
But I tell you now, when you start messing with that finer braid, you really need to have both those knots cinched well on each side, because
it will
that
slide
braid
through,
it'll want to slip over the top. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I usually do you loop the braid and run your fluorocarbon through it, or you loop the fluorocarbon and
I'll lay them on top of each other, and then I'll make a loop on this side, and then do my rolls through the loop.
Right.
And I'll cinch that down, and then this side I'll do the same thing. But I want my fluoro side, I want that knot to be tight, and then I'll get this knot tight, and then that way when I pull them together, that braid knot will slide up against that fluoro knot, and it won't try to slide over it.
Right. I watched some stuff on YouTube where the guy takes ropes and does it, but it's pretty strong, Steve. Because
yes, here's another key to that is when you tie that, you want to trim those tag lines as close to the knot as you can, because if you don't, when you're casting, it'll leave those tag lines will stick out, and it'll grab your loops while you try to cast. So whenever you're doing that double uni, clip your tags as close to the knot as you can after you've got it good cinched down.
That's right. Philip Donson, where y'all weighing in? Where is that tournament Sunday?
It's going to be at the 400 ramp in the middle of
there it is, Philip, right there at the 400 ramp, the Mullet
in the
ramp
middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I know where it is.
I know that. I mean, it's beautiful in there. Go by grist mill and all to get to it, but it is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Steve's asking, you think a fluorocarbon leader is better? Everybody I know that's anybody, crappie fishing, they're using fluorocarbon, Steve, for sure, especially on long rods and casting. So it's it sinks better and it doesn't stretch. So everybody I know that uses it, I'm not going to say there's a particular reason for it, but D. Robertson's in here. Obviously, he just got off work. Dion's out for plumbing right there. He texts me number 3 stop, number 5 stop, number 7 stop. He texts me all sometimes during the day, and he's been wide open. Thank God, he's blessed, buddy. He's been busy. Him and Steve, air conditioner guy. I eat breakfast with him in the morning. thanks to you guys. I don't know. Hey, I appreciate y'all. He's wide open too, catching calls and stuff. So somebody asked a question, and Philip said we're weighing in. I'm making sure I don't miss any of these. Oh, Christopher Smith. Hey, buddy. He tuned in.
Oh, Chad's talking about that another
Oh,
knot.
Alberto knot. There it is.
Yeah, I've always tied the one I tie. I think Eric uses that knot, but it's what you're comfortable with. A lot of it, like Jessica and I, we tie that Palomar like all the time. She's like, if I own some fish and I say, all right, I rip this one off, she can tie that thing like that. And then, if like the other day when she was whooping on me and catching all the fish, I've been tying it on for her and running the live scope for her. I mean, whoever's got the hot hand, you gotta get them.
I know
catching
the tournament y'all guys fished down there, Dippy's. You said she was hot. You just sit back and let it eat. You just let her.
Hey, yeah, normally I'm first cast, in, and she was making first cast in.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, I fished on John. Yeah.
The next 2 days, it might be that way. I'm glad she's here for these days to.
Exactly.
So we can get a.
Me too.
Dustin wants to know: did you pre-fish today?
I did. I got to get out for a little while, Dustin.
That's right.
I did. It was tough.
Well, you still see a little bit of that sunset behind y'all. That's crazy, man.
Yes.
That's awesome, dude. That's an awesome view right there. Let's see, man. Hope I didn't miss any questions. Clifford wants to know how much of those shirts going to be at the show, the Deer Expo.
We're going to be $30.
$30. Okay. There you go, Mr.
Y'all, trust me, we're not making a lot off of them at that point.
No,
we want everybody to, if you want them and you enjoy watching the show, to have one,
There's Mr. David Gadsden from Gadsden Game Calls. He makes some duck calls. He's tuned in. He's going to hit me up about some crappie here for long, I guarantee you. When I was on Big Daddy's show, he was like, hey, I'm going to meet you at the ramp. So he's a good fella from down there in Camden also. Met a lot of good folks down there, man. A lot of good folks. There's a bunch of good folks on this show right now, and I'm not just saying that. These people right here, it's crazy. I know a lot of these people personally, and their character just speaks for itself. And that character just follows each other when your character's like that. So let's see. Country Cousin Greg, he asked something earlier, man. Let's see. I've seen somewhere you asked something earlier, and I don't know if he was asking about some pound test or something.
He's asking about personal best.
There he goes. What's your PB white and black? Asking for everyone. What is y'all's, John's? I know y'all's white, so I seen them.
Yeah, my biggest white was a 302.
And mine's a 308.
Yeah, she's got a 308, and then I got a 306 black crappie.
That's right. That's what's mounted at your house there. I seen the other night.
It is, yeah.
What's your biggest black? Y'all caught some big black ones, or what were they?
Mine's a 306.
Mine's a
okay.
262.
No, it's
274.
274. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't caught anything near that, guys. I might have caught some 260s. I haven't. I lost some fish this spring that made me say a few choice words. I promise you that were big, and it's gonna come together. That's why I'm down there building steak beds, man. I'm trying to get me a home for one of them big old things, Greg, to set in there.
Those, man, you get a 3-pound black crappie. You got.
That is a giant. I know John and I, when we went fishing together at that lake, that zoo we went to, we were catching some 240s, after a post spawn, and you're like, and those fish were that thick. That's like John and Jessica's fish they have mounted. And if you look at it, you're like, man, that's a 16.5-inch fish. But you don't realize till you walk up, he's built just like me. I mean, that's what's taking up all the shirt. You know what I'm saying? You don't realize, you're looking at it from the outside, but you look to the side, you're like, oh, that's what's taking up. That's where the weight comes from.
Yeah.
They're like, what size shirt you wear? 2, 3X? And they're like,
it's like everybody says they got them shoulders on them.
They do. Hey, them things they're healthy. Both of them come from Grenada, I know. So I appreciate it. Amos said he's trying to promote our stuff up here in Missouri, man. I appreciate it, Amos. Hey, share the love, man. Like I said, we're on Apple Podcasts now and Spotify. You can listen to us driving down the road. My boss man and them at RMC, he got me listening to a few different Meat Eater podcasts and a few other podcasts, and I sit there and listen to it now instead of the radio. because it plays the same old stuff. So
How did you tell? Somebody.
Nicholas, he got very lucky.
look at there, Nick. He said, "Well, John, how'd you tie the knot with Jessica?" There you go. John's blessed now. You don't believe me?
I don't know that I've ever told this story.
You
while we're
tell it.
talking.
Tell it on the show, John.
Oh my goodness!
It's good
So
stuff.
here's the deal. So we were dating, and we were out on my family's farm. We would pretty much try to catch everything, anything, whatever we could catch. And we had some a cooler with some Southpaw beer in it, and we were putting the brim and the bass, whatever we caught, all in there in the beer cooler. And then we got done fishing. She helped me clean fish, and she took her own fish off. I said, I got to marry her before somebody else does. You know.
Did she drink one of them beers that smell like fish?
Cheap beer. The slime coming off the side of it. Helped clean fish. Took her own fish off. I said, I got to marry her.
He was starstruck. That was awesome.
Yeah, great question, Nicholas.
Yeah, Nick, appreciate that. I remember that story. I remember you telling me. That's awesome, man. James Trott said he's coming to Miller's Ferry. Come on down there, James. They're a little hard headed, but it's fixing to get right, man. Believe it or not, yeah, I'm kind of partial, but the Alabama River is probably the prettiest river in Alabama as far as the scenery and the way it lays out. Miller's Ferry, we're gonna have that tournament April the 6th, and we're gonna be talking more and more about it every, especially after the first year, we're gonna start pushing it. But that place fishes big because if you look on the map, it is a huge, lake on that end of the river. So
you can burn all the boat gas you want to burn on Alabama River.
You sure can, man.
Hopefully
we're gonna have some boats in that baby.
Yeah, each pool is the same way. You can stretch it out. But I mean, there's the good thing about it is there's plenty of places if they're not in the river, you can get off the river and
yes, exactly.
Explore. And it's absolutely beautiful.
It is. It's a pretty river, man. I can't wait to get that tournament. I hope we have 100 boats in it. We have some fun. Anybody. The good thing about it, guys, we talk about it all the time. That time of year, April the 6th, man, it's anybody's game. I don't care if the Eric Kagels, the Brandon Threadgills, the John Farmer, Scott Mitchell, all them. You could come up and hit a bank and catch you 14 pounds in just a second. So that's a good time of year to have a tournament because everybody's got a chance to weigh some big fish in. Not just these guys and just hammers. It's going to be fun, and we're going to try to make it worth people's while and try to build it up to something. But we'll talk more and more in the future. But April the 6th, so let's see. There, Jason said he's going to come down Miller's Ferry. January, February. February's really good, Jason. I was going to tell him, man. January, I caught fish all last year. From John and Jessica's trip, we went October the 8th last year, and from then on, I caught fish pretty steady. It is fun.
I can't wait to. We'll have to do another one of those trips this year.
October time
because I tell Joe Allen I got the shrimp loaded up again, so he'll be I got to hook up on the shrimp again, Joe Allen.
Joe Allen, I stay with him a good bit and stay with him and Big Daddy. And, man, I tell you, people don't realize is I go to the restaurant, the Rack and Wheel with Big Daddy on Friday nights, and you're sitting there and this old couple comes up and says, "Hey, Shane," and they know my name. And they're like, "We watch you on Big Daddy's show." And they're like, "Here's my phone number if you break down on the river." I mean, you're just like, man, these people don't even know you. Me with this big old tattoo and stuff, and they still come up to you. Because they know your personality from different shows and shows I do with Big Daddy, and nice people down there. Sonny Moody wants to know, does life scope work when they go to the bank? Ooh.
To some extent it does. You get in a certain water depth that I don't feel like is as effective. Some people have gotten good, using the perspective mode for brim beds and stuff. Me personally, I haven't. When fish in my mind are on the bank, I'm looking for anything abnormal on the bank, and I'm flipping a jig in there to it under a cork. and I'm moving the whole time. Cork does anything weird, I'm popping the hook to it. Anything shallow. When I say shallow, I'm talking about under 3 feet. I'm moving. I'm just going. I look like a bass fisherman. Uh, that's and it's places that I've seen fish spawn in the past. So am I not necessarily as good when I go to a new water trying to go fish the spawn? I look at for the same things that I saw at other places, but the live scope is less of a factor. I'm just sticking it in there. Don't get anything. Move, move, move. Covering water. Now, here's the thing about it. I'm fishing places that are off of places that I've caught them a month or two before that. Because I know those fish they've got to go somewhere to spawn, and why not go right from where they were at?
Exactly.
So look for those stumps or that lay down or something. Or one of my favorite places. There's a person it's on the Alabama River. They cut their crepe myrtles every year, and they lay them beside their boat ramp. I have caught the biggest crappie that I've ever caught on the Alabama River off those crepe myrtles during the spawn.
Oh yeah.
And you're just dipping down in between those crepe myrtles with that cork and and I'm talking about, look, my jig's not going to be but maybe a foot deep,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just dipping, 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 and that cork does anything fuddy, boom, set the hook.
Right.
It's like I think Jordan Sanders says it all the time. Hook sets are free.
Sonny,
When
I
in
use
doubt,
Sonny, I
like
use it a ton in shallow water. When I'm in Demopolis, it's always shallow. So I made myself just look for movement in the tree, not necessarily seeing that individual fish. If you look at a limb and you see a bunch of interference or anything moving, I'm gonna put it in there on them. And if I catch a fish, great. I'm not saying I see every individual fish, like I was saying, Sonny, but like John was saying, those fish are going in and out when they're spawning anyway. In and out, in and out, in and out.
yeah, especially the females, they're not going to be there long.
No, they're not. They're going to be there long, Sonny. But it does help you. If you have a little cool weather or something come in, those fish back out to that secondary cover right outside the bank. It helps you find those fish too, man.
And here's another thing: if you're fishing somewhere that you've got tall timber, and it comes all the way up to the surface, and some of those trees come within 3 feet, 2 feet of the surface, buddy, they're not going to the bank. You know where they're spawning? Right there on top of those trees.
I've caught some at Miller's Ferry. I think me and you had a conversation. Some of those stumps are bowled out, and those crappie are sitting in I'm talking about just like that hole right there. They're sitting in the top, and they're spawning in the top of that tree. I caught a bunch of them that way. Oh, Tommy Ezel. Appreciate you tuning in, Mr. Tommy. I'd like to come eat with y'all. Fishing would just be a bonus. Stick with this live feed. Sharing the sport can change a life. I know personally. Great job. Hey, Tommy does this for a living, guys. He runs around sharing information. Works for Bonehead. Bless you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Appreciate you tuning in, Tommy. He's gonna be up here at the. He's gonna be up here at the Crappie Expo. He's fishing it, so he's coming.
So. That's a good question, Nicholas.
There you go. That's Nick. Well, as a matter of fact, next show we'll get some pictures of some like a carp and a gar and a spoonbill. Maybe we can try to get a few pictures of different fish and let you see how the crappie. When I hear people fishing, Nick,
Nick, that's such a good question, though, man.
That's a great question, Nick. We need to do that, guys, because everybody gets in a boat with me on these guide trips. Hey, man, what's that? That ain't a crappie. No, man. They're throwing at everything, thinking the crappie population is big. They think everything is a crappie, but
Nick,
we need to do that, Nick. I appreciate you bringing that up, man.
The easiest thing I can tell you, bud, is for eliminating fish that you don't want to try to mess with if you want to catch crappie, is keep your live scope on that fish. And crappie aren't going to move as much as these other fish are. If that fish turns, look at its tail. If you see that Y whip, like when they're bending in the middle of their body, but look, the biggest thing, if that fish ever turns and you see that wide tail, when I say Y, there's a Y in its tail.
Yes,
it's not flat.
Definitely.
Move on. But
exactly.
Look, if you'll start, and then another thing, their posture, is he looking down? Is he not sitting flat like a a round ball, is the fish looking down? That's typically not going to be a crappie. We'll like Shane said, we'll take some pictures and
Yeah,
try
we
to
will.
do
I tell
do some
you,
stuff.
you know the Christian symbol fish that people have on their vehicles. You know what I mean? It's shaped like that and it crosses a little bit. That's what a crappie looks like on live scope. You don't see much of their tail. You just see barely a little bit. And like John says, in the spring, you can actually see the shadow from their belly behind them, the bigger fish. And they actually come out and they're kind of blocky. You know what I mean? They're not doing a lot of wiggling. You'll see a little kick and glide. I've got to where I can chase a few down now, and I try to share that with people that get in the boat with me, and we spook them.
Jessica's got a good point talking about the brim.
Go ahead, Jess.
They'll flicker. Like if you see flicker, like it's not a crappie.
Yeah, when you look at them they don't just like give you a constant return. The brim will be sitting there, and it's like the Christmas lights, I guess.
Yeah.
They got a
Like
little flicker to them, and a lot of like, oh, that's brim right there. And of course, they're going to be smaller, but when you throw in there and that jig gets that real fast bump, that's the brim. You get that solid return that looks like a ball. That's what you want.
John and I were laughing at the.
And once you see it, remember it, because what happens is a lot of people will get so agitated from not seeing what they want to see, they'll start trying to make other things be.
That's right. You just start just like hunting a cutover. You start imagining deer and everything else. It's crazy. John and I seen a bunch of catfish when we were fishing Monday, and we were just avoiding them. They were going through there just swoop, swoop, swoop.
I said,
John,
one time I said, Shane, take it away from him, Shane. Don't let it. Don't let
the catfish was gonna smash me. Oh, Tim Maddox, he's been smashing them up here at Bankhead. He said he got another limit. He's been minnow fishing up here. What's Travis saying? Springtime, I've seen their bellies so big it actually makes them drift to the bottom. Then they shoot back up. Oh, yeah, I believe that. I know when I eat too much, I start drifting to the bottom.
Start drifting for that nap.
I'll come back up too. But yeah, that's a good point, Travis. They do that a lot, man. They behave different in the springtime. And the good thing about that live scope, it lets you see a lot of these fish's habits. It likes to see your bad habits, reeling too fast, closing the bail too fast. It lets you see a bunch of it. But
Sonny, the answer is yes.
Yeah,
shad do flicker too.
they do. The shad do flicker, but the shad,
there it is.
They flicker. A lot of them, they're dart, like they'll be darting all over.
They're erratic. You're right.
So when you see a stump and those brim will be stacked over the top of it, it's like they're blinking. It's not necessarily that they're darting, but their return on the live scope is a blinking look rather than, hey, I'm getting a direct return and it looks like a glowing ball. I don't know if they're just like moving because they're waiting for that big flathead to come eat them or what. But
yeah, what's crazy, guys? The fish that get ate by bigger fish, they do more moving than anything. You're like, hey, you're drawing attention to yourself, bud. But they do.
But I do want to say one thing before we run out of time. So Shane and I were fishing together Monday, and we fished a lot of my brush piles that I put out. Well,
tell them what kind of tree that is, matter of fact. John.
It's a black willow.
Let me tell y'all, black willow trees, I felt sorry for them fishing that one brush top. I'm not kidding you.
So what happens is when you come up to a brush pile, you can see the fish. They'll be down in it or they'll be midways up in it. If you ever come to that brush pile and those fish are just sitting there right above the brush, they're ready to do the thing.
They were sitting on GO for sure.
Yeah, so we came up to that one. I said, we came up to a stump first, and I said, I always catch some big fish off this stump. I said, but there's a brush pile to the right of it's going to be loaded. I said, I put that brush pile there for a reason because I always caught big fish off this stump.
Exactly. John, how far did you put it from that stump, John?
I put it about.
Put it so close where it messes it up. How far did you?
Yeah, I think about maybe 25 yards.
Yeah, I think about right.
Far enough that I could take that live scope and zoom it way out and still see it. Right. So when we came up on that brush pile, those fish, like here's the brush, they were just sitting right there smooth on top of it. And it was every cast.
Oh, every cast. It was bad. I bet we caught
Jessica said, I know where y'all were.
Hey, I bet we caught 35 fish off that thing quickly. I mean, it was just smash, smash, smash. I mean, it was awesome. Like I said, there were a bunch of eaters. Country Cousin Greg says this needs to be an hour and 30 minutes. And
So
I'll tell you, hey, no kidding. We've had 60 people plus on here the whole time. It got up to 72. I mean, that's awesome, man. I appreciate all y'all support for real, man. We try to make this thing an hour where everybody can spend time with their family and, go eat dinner. Some people haven't eaten dinner yet. They'll jump on here. And the good thing about it, this thing's recorded. And now we're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. I'll put this on there probably tomorrow. We got to record another in-depth series. We're going to talk about mapping. We're going into the Onyx, the Navy Onyx, the Google Earth. We're going to talk about all of it. And we're going to show you how John kind of shed some light to me how to hunt some fish before you even get on the water. We're going to talk about that in the in-depth series. So Chad said he's wanting my son to come back up behind you. That was beautiful, guys. Hey, you need to watch this show. If one thing, the only reason you watch this show is that sunset behind John and Jessica there.
yeah.
It was awesome. And I appreciate all y'all's questions. If we didn't get to them, appreciate everybody tuning in. Tommy Ezel, Chuck Beam, all you guys, Scott Seals, all you guys, Travis, Nick Duchok. Man, I appreciate all y'all tuning in, man. Y'all make this thing grow. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to keep growing as long as y'all keep getting on here and asking questions, and we can answer your questions. So
And
we're going to get off here. Like I said, we'll be live next Thursday also. John have an update from the tournament. I'm going to Fish Miller's Ferry Saturday, and I'll be at Demopolis Sunday. I'll be able to give you a little report from there. I got a trip with a fella. But I'm Shane Jones, John and Jessica Fulmer there. Y'all get on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a review, guys, and run that thing up, because I want all these truck drivers around here that don't get to fish. I want them tuning in and listening, man. I think it's awesome. So, like I said, I enjoy y'all, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate John and Jessica. We're going to get ready and for the Crappie Expo, and we're getting stuff built for it and everything. And appreciate you guys, and thank all our sponsors. Like you said, this video's got all our sponsors. We're thanking all them, and I appreciate all them to help this thing go. So appreciate you, John and Jessica. Y'all stay on here, and we'll see y'all next Thursday, guys.